Welcome to the Mental Health Militia News, where I am your host, Chabol, here with his co-host, Mr. Munster. Thank you, Mr. Munster. Today in the news, we have a doozy, but before we get into that, I must mention a disclaimer. Yes, a news station that comes with a warning. Why? Because we care that the information we give you might be fire, but it turns out that it is me and Mr. Munster gathering it, producing it, writing it, and delivering it. So it could blow up in your face just like this, gentleman. So please listen with discretion and use this for educational purposes only. Moving on from the fire to yes, as we are still sitting in the great media war of 2021. We see many mainstream media platforms pushing out old stories like, hey, we got this stuff hot off the presses from 6 years ago. It just has different writing underneath of it. They need to hire like better story writers. What's Stephen King up to? I know he's pushing Black Lives Matter in Ukraine these days. Get him to write your news stories these days. He's going to be like, yeah, and the zombies popped up from the ground because Ukrainians' biolabs were blown up, but really that's probably true story anyway, so don't even use them. Moving on from news to, yes, as we're starting to understand who Chabot is, he had comedy last night, and there was a lot of comedians who showed up, and so he's thinking about coming home on Monday nights, picking the top 5 stories, and going live for an hour. I'm not sure. We're still working at trying to figure out who Chabot is. Moving on from the news to the opening quote, there can be no faith in government if our highest officers are excused from scrutiny. They should be setting the example of transparency. Yes, from Eddie Snowden. Yes, what he's saying is if you're not transparent and follow your own laws, you're pretty much a dictator. Moving on from the opening quote to the opening story. Yes, State of the Union, Biden vows to check Russia, fight inflation. Yes, what we're seeing, he was like, hey, we're going to step up and try to fight tyranny that's going on all around us. So basically, he's saying he's going to fight Russia, fight inflation, and fight tyranny inside his cabinet. So basically, he's going to take down himself. Oh, gosh, this man doesn't know what he's doing. Moving on from the opening story to the Sick World News with your MHM News. Yes, Putin said Russia was targeting Nazis in Ukraine. The Azov Battalion is a Nazi group in Ukraine. Not many Americans have heard of the Azov Battalion. Apparently, NBC was unaware of this group on February 14th when it aired preparation being made for a Russian attack into Ukraine using the Azov Battalion as an example. Yes, they are saying these people aren't even neo-Nazis. They are straight Nazis. Like, it never went away because it didn't. The neo-Nazis are the people that are just like, hey, we like the idea. Let's go with it. Moving on from the U.S. imposes sanctions on Russia's central bank. The Treasury Department on Monday banned sanctions with the Central Bank of Russia and the Russian Foreign Investment Fund, imposing strict financial sanctions on Russia's economy already in free fall. Yes, as we see the Russian people not able to get their money, we see rubles being transferred into USDT and buying Bitcoin, seeing Bitcoin soar up to $45,000. Moving on from the news to yes, New Zealand High Court ends Jacinda Ardern's vaccine mandate. It's a gross violation of human rights. Yes, the New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern was left reeling on Friday after a high court ruled that her vacation mandate represented a gross violation of human rights for New Zealanders. Oof, this lady should be headed out, but for some reason she's still sitting in her place. I don't know, maybe she's a puppet? Moving on from the, yes, Iceland will lift all Rona restrictions, but it also has a reality check for the vacation pushers. Woo, we gotta wait for this reality check. Iceland is the latest European nation for ditching the Rona restrictions. The tiny North Atlantic country is not only restoring a semblance of freedom for its citizens, it has a reality check for the vacation pushers. Yes, and the reality check is we need to get sick in order to build up our immunities. Woo, isn't this story flipping? Wow. Moving on from the news to, yes, Myanmar supports Russia actions in Ukraine. As we see here, when Myanmar had an election and it was trying to be overrun and taken over, the military stepped up in support to make a fair election and hopefully have their people get what they truly should have. And if Myanmar is stepping up, we could see the movie playing off where it was a year ago. Moving on from the news to welcome to America, bitches, with your MHM news. To yes, Michelle Obama would put Republicans in a very difficult position if she ran for president because she is popular and immune to criticism. Former Trump aide warns. Yes, what we're seeing here is we need to get a doctor here to check really if she's running under the female card or the male card, just to make sure that she is running under the right sex. Because, I don't know, maybe she doesn't put her sex on there and then we automatically know what sex she's representing, because it sure as hell ain't female. Moving on from the news to, yes, the sick Rona jammer in your MHM news. To, yes, judge unseals 400 pages of evidence, clears way for Pfizer whistleblower lawsuit. Yes, a whistleblower lawsuit alleging fraud during the Pfizer's Rona vacation trials is moving forward after a court district judge unsealed the complaint, including 400 pages of exhibits. Yes, what we're seeing here is hopefully this thing keeps on a steam rolling forward and that people can get the justice that they need, because they're going to need the medical attention from the Jabberoonie. Moving on from the news to, yes, how can I not help you in tech support with your MHM news? To Internet Monitor says Russia is blocking access to Facebook, Twitter. Yes, Russia is apparently rendered Facebook largely unusable across leading Russian telecommunications providers amid raising friction between Moscow and the social media platform. Yes, we're seeing here in a flick of the switch, they can just be shut off from these platforms. So get a VPN, block yourself, say you're from America. Moving on to, yes, hackers group says U.S. biological labs active in Ukraine. Yes, this article put out years and years ago in 2017, and many articles that I have found before, that these biolabs are real, and we see these fact pushers trying to push the fact that they aren't real. But we know when the fact pushers grab a story, start pushing it, that it is a true story. Moving on from the news to, yes, how do we iron out racial propaganda with your MHM news? You just say that how you going to be racist against the human race? When an alien comes, let us know how you feel about racism. Moving on from the news to, yes, U.S. lifts ban on funding neo-Nazi Ukrainian militia. Yes, we see here that they are not only supporting Nazis, they're supporting neo-Nazi militias and giving them money. What kind of, this is just not helping our inflation, is it? No, maybe it is helping our inflation. I don't know. Moving on from the news to, yes, the funny money section of your MHM news. To World Bank president warns Russian invasion of Ukraine could impact global economy. Yeah, as we realize that the American dollar is crashing, Bitcoin is soaring, the ruble is being cut off from the world. XRP case is clearing up. We are going to sure as hell see an impact of the world as the US dollar temporarily takes a dive into a pool with weights attached to its ankles, sinking straight to the bottom for a short moment time. Oh, moving on from the news to yes, crimes against humanity with your MHM news. Mr. Munson, we got to prevent crimes against humanity. You with me? Yeah, let's go. Moving on to yes, the Pentagon bioweapons. Yes, in an article put out in 2019, the U.S. Army regularly produces deadly viruses, bacteria, and toxins in direct violation the UN Convention of the Prohibition of Biological Weapons. Oh, I'm not reading anymore, but we see here that the U.S. has been in control of bioweapons around the world the whole time, so we really are the culprit. Sorry, moving on from the news to yes, fraud, scams, and lies could target you, so protect yourself, people. You gotta keep your head on a swivel. You gotta be like, ooh, there's fraud, scams, and lies going on over there. Gotta be and tell the people. Moving on from the news to yes, Hunter Biden pal sentenced to prison for role in fraud scheme. A former business partner of Hunter Biden was sentenced Monday to more than a year in prison for his role in a scheme to defraud a Native American tribe of some $60 million in bonds. Yes, as the team around bootstraps his son is going down. When is shit gonna finally roll downhill and catch Bootstraps Jr. and himself? Moving on from the news to yes, George Soros, U.S. must do whatever possible to back Ukraine against Russia. Yes, as we see the billionaire here with enough money to back Ukraine himself, calling on America to do the dirty work for him. Oh yeah. Moving on from the news to yes, Feinstein talks with FBI about her husband's stock trades. Yes, Senator Dianne Feinstein has turned over documents to the FBI and has answered questions from law enforcement officials about husband's controversial stock trades. Yes, what we're seeing here is Feinstein, who has been a puppet and put in place the whole time. We see her and her insider trading probably going down herself. Oh, yeah. Moving on to the yes, if you made it this far, you've made it to the veteran section of your MHM news. Moving on to oof, way to just jump on through from the other side. It jumped on through from the other side to yes, in post 859. I can't read all them small words. These PO people are stupid. Wait for Russia China report, sabotage investigation, strike 999999 period. Yes, as we see here that this post was put up 4 years ago, March 6, 2018. So that's almost a 4-year delta as we see Russia, not China yet, in the news, sabotage. As we move on to post 2942, full-scale attack, March Madness, prepare, we are here. Skirt. Oh man, that's almost a 4-year delta right there as we see March 3-year delta, March 3rd, 2019. Moving on from the news to yes, as we see Dan Scavino, what is that? How do I used to do it? Agent 00 Dan Scavino puts out on February 27th in a 5-second video, but kind of hinting towards post number 5 on the deck. Follow the money, it's the key. What is Pelosi's net worth, by the way? Of one example, why coincidentally is her memory apparently going? Cover the possible future indictment to plea what? What if John M. never had surgery and that was a cover for a future out if needed against prosecution? Oh man, why did Soros transfer his bulk public funds to a North or a NP. I forget what NP stands for. Note this doesn't include massive slush funds that are pulled by several high ups. Why did Soros' son have several meetings with Canadian Prime Minister, and how is that related to Clinton's? Can you reply on being able to board a plane and fly away? Why is MS-13 a priority? Nobody got this. Could people say such gangs to kill opponents? And why? How to insult against exposure? The truth is mind-blowing and cannot fully be exposed. Also, many are thinking from one point of view, U.S. only. Is this evil is embedded globally? U.S. is first domino. Have faith. Yes, as we see here, the U.S. is the first domino. So are we slowly going to fall to only build ourselves back up? That's what the future is looking for us. So expect us to fall in the future, but we really aren't down. We are only coming back stronger. Moving on from the news to, oh gosh, if you made it this far, sometimes I don't want to make it this far, but I'm actually okay right now. That is all for now from the Mental Health Militia News. Mr. Munster and Chabul, have a good one. God bless you and yours. Holla at your bull. 2 fingers. Not bad, not bad. Love y'all. Thank y'all for staying with me. Just we're gonna keep on trying this.